Hey all you high vibe humans, Breezy here, and if you didn't know, you're in a higher vibration now, so welcome to a behind the scenes podcast video. And this is going to be a real and raw behind the scenes. I am currently pre-writing the script for the show. I'm using one of my past textbooks. As you can see, I have put tons of little sticky notes in it to mark my favorite places. And so I've used this textbook before, and I'll just read you one of the quotes randomly from this text, and it does have to do with the topic today. And so we're talking about fear and the fear response, and then we're also going to talk about how forgiveness can boost your self-esteem. So forgiving yourself when you first have that initial fear reaction, that's totally normal. And then you go on to kind of give yourself a little bit of an internal locus of control. You boost your self-esteem by practicing forgiveness. And boosting your self-esteem helps strengthen your immune system. It has great health effects. So let's just read this quote right here. So a person in a stressful situation who believes he or she has some control over the situation suffers far less physiological damage normally associated with stress. So control also acts as a buffer against stress when we believe we have control. So when we're able to recognize a fear as it arises, we're able to recognize, okay, so I'm having a fear response, I'm reacting to this out of fear. Then you're able to kind of take control of that situation. Maybe you do a breathing exercise. Maybe you do a silent meditation to yourself quickly, a visual meditation, a guided meditation. Maybe you count backwards. You're able to recognize, okay, I'm having a fear response, I'm going to do what I need to do in order to control that. And then the health effects are lessened. So in the podcast, I'll talk a little bit about the negative health effects of the stress response, which is when you have a fearful situation come up, your heartbeat starts to go faster, maybe you start to hyperventilate, so your breathing increases, and perhaps you start to sweat. These are all physiological responses to fear. Totally normal, right? But totally not normal when they're prolonged, and then they can cause things like heart disease and immune problems, immune system malfunctioning. So, I've talked for about 3 minutes. Let's just get into the podcast, okay? Skadoosh! Alright. Hey! Cool. Can you hear me okay? Mic check. 1, 2. Mic check. Yes. Yes, I am. Hey all you high vibe humans, Breezy here, and if you didn't know, you're in a higher vibration now, so welcome to the Golden Gaian Adventure. Today's show is brought to you by the letter F, which stands for the fear response and forgiveness. We're going to focus on fight, flight, and freeze all the way to forgiveness. So how fight, flight, or freeze is the fear response, and how we can use forgiveness to heal ourselves from that. Stick with me here. The autonomic system is the one that we're going to focus on. So automatically, we're thinking autonomic nervous system. This one regulates involuntary bodily processes, such as your heart rate, respiration, digestion, pupil concentration. So everything that's involved in the fear response. Now, a big part of the fear response is the sympathetic nervous system, which prepares the body for action. And the parasympathetic nervous system helps calm the body down. These things happen automatically, without you having to think about them. So you're not sitting there in your chair or perhaps driving right now. You're not telling yourself to breathe. You're simply breathing. You don't have to tell yourself to do that. That is an automatic response. So, when you see something that is fearful in your environment, your sympathetic nervous system automatically gets activated and your heart beats faster. Your airways relax so that you can breathe more deeply. But did you know that your pupils also dilate so that your vision sharpens? Or that your liver converts glycogen to glucose for instant energy? And your sweat glands, that sweating has a purpose, okay? The perspiration increases your body's ability to cool itself. So when you're running away, your body is cooling itself automatically. So sweating actually has a function. And digestion in the stomach slows or stops so that the blood that is usually used for digestion can go to the muscles. And your muscles get tense and large so that you can quickly run away. All of these physical things are good when there's a bear and you need to run away. However, if you're sitting in your car and someone cuts you off in traffic, this isn't going to do you a lot of good and could have negative health effects, which we will get into. However, this prolonged response, when not told to calm down, can result in many different health effects, and I'll just list them for you briefly. We have anxiety, depression, and other psychiatric disorders, hypertension, weight gain, weight loss, acute, episodic, and chronic stress, as well as fibromyalgia and other nerve disorders, reduced sexual desire, exacerbated diabetes, coronary heart disease, and heart attacks, an inflamed circulatory system. And that's just to name a few. The third stage is the exhaustion stage, which is now being called the dysregulation of the body. This is when your fear response is constantly activated. You're constantly having to breathe deeply. You're constantly having sweating issues. You're constantly having this response activated. And everybody is different, but one thing we have in common is that we all have a limit. And when we hit this limit, our protective immune functions break down. Our body suddenly turns into a robot and it's like, does not compute. System error, alert, alert. And the body is unable to keep up with this. So a mixture of events begins to happen. There's a lot of drawbacks to this prolonged response. And some of the drawbacks to this prolonged response is that, yes, it's great that your heart is beating to give your body more blood. However, sometimes blood flow to the muscles in the arms increases 300 to 400% when a person is stressed out. So the result, if you already have high blood pressure issues, or maybe there's a block in your artery already, if left unchecked, this could lead to cardiovascular problems or kidney problems because of how fast your blood is pumping through your blood vessels. Try breathing shallow, way shallow, and rapidly. It's not going to feel very good, and you're likely to start feeling anxious and stressed. So you have to start to calm yourself down. So now see what happens when you begin to breathe slowly and deeply with your diaphragm. This is activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is helping to calm your breathing down. That is why meditation is often a very, very helpful tool. Meditation can help slow your breathing down and expand your diaphragm, which helps to calm your mind. On how we can become more informed about our fear response. Once we're aware of what we're scared of, spiders, bears, maybe a romance ending, perhaps we're afraid of starting a new career, perhaps we're afraid of, trying new food even, something as simple as that. When we're more aware of what we're afraid of, we're more aware of what steps we can take to overcome that fear. And I just mentioned some qualities that you can do meditations on in order to boost your ability to overcome fear. So doing a forgiveness meditation would boost your self-esteem. It would boost your sense of empowerment, your sense of personal control. It would boost your sense of meaning and purpose. It would boost your sense of connectedness with your deepest self because you're forgiving yourself and moving closer to loving yourself. And that's a wrap. That's all she wrote. I did it. I did the thing. And now I'm going to edit all of this footage. So that I do get nervous when I do the podcast because I know that my voice matters and I know that pauses matter, and I oftentimes forget about that. Video I'm a little more comfortable with because I've been doing it for so long. So the ums kind of get to me after a while. I'm very hyper aware of it, so I try to pause, and then the pauses start to feel unnatural. Woo! Cyclical cycle of thoughts. And then I start to freak out and think that maybe I'm not making sense. So, I'm a normal human. and I do normal human things, podcasts can be intimidating. End of story. Period. So, I plugged a couple things in the podcast, Sweetgrass and Sageburn Festival. If you don't know, now you know, and you should get your ticket. And that's all I have for you in this behind the scenes video. Until next time, high vibe humans, stay healthy, stay light, and don't give up the fight. Breezy, out! Bye-bye!